I'm going to be showing a little bit further on this digital painting commission that I got. I titled it The Slaying of Laban, and I'm just kind of getting set up right now, so a few people start joining in. I'm going to try to see if I can stream this on the side of my computer here so I can see some comments. I don't know if that works or not, but we'll see what happens. So let's see, I'm going to actually adjust this just a little bit more. So feel free to ask any questions or anything like that if you want. And I'm just going to kind of paint a little bit while I'm working on this. So hopefully it's coming through pretty good. It's interesting, I've got this streaming in the corner here, and like it keeps on shaking. It's kind of funny, but my camera doesn't appear to be. So anyways, so what I've got going on here is I've been building out this digital painting here, and I was commissioned the other day at Comic-Con to do any story from the Book of Mormon, rendered however I want it to be done, however I want it to be done. So that's what I've kind of come up with so far, and I'm just going to show you guys how I do this. This image in the corner is kind of throwing me off though. Alright, so one thing that you rarely see when people are digital painting is the references that they use. So I always use a reference on some of my stuff. I'm going to get rid of this on the other screen. It is totally throwing me off. Alright, let's try that. So I've got my reference up here, and I don't actually sample right from the reference, because every reference piece you use, like I've got some arms here, as you can see they're drastically different colors, and if you don't have a palette established, oh my gosh, I hate this program so very bad. If you don't have a color palette established and you just sample right from these, you're going to get colors all over the place. Hey, baby, can you turn the light off for me? Alright, hopefully that'll help. You guys will see probably a flashing blue light. My daughter's watching TV in the background, and I'm actually just have this thing pointed at my computer screen. So anyways, back to what I was saying, is I kind of establish a color palette right here initially, and then after I've got my colors put into a point that I'm pretty happy with, I sometimes just turn this off right here because I don't need it anymore, but you can see my skin color right there. I was using a base skin color right there. This one I've kind of abandoned because I felt that it was making it too daylight. So I use it to enhance a few areas like the hands. But this became my my nighttime shadow in a sense, because this story apparently was supposed to have taken place at night. So from here I'm just going to turn that off because I'm pulling the colors from the hand or the arm. So what I'll do is I've already kind of worked in some of this brown color right here. Make sure I'm on the right layer. But I need to hit the highlight. So I always establish my dark colors here, and then I move into the light colors. So you can see that I've done a little bit of work here before I started the stream. But all I'm going to do is start painting it in. And I'm actually really loose and very sloppy at this stage. The only time I start tightening it up is when I approach somewhere I've already painted. So at this point, I'm just getting the color in. That's all I'm really worried about. So right about here, I'm looking at the structure of the foot. And if there's a color I want, I'll use this as a palette. But I won't sample it like this shadow's not going to be that shadow, and this light's not going to be that light. But I might be painting and be like, oh, I need some of this green right there. So I might switch it and paint just a small swatch, and then I'll actually mix right here on my palette. And then for instance, like there's some red coming down the toe right there, I might sample it from like this shawl type thing, and I'll just put a few color samples in there, and then I'll paint it right in and kind of mix right here as I go. So that's what I'll do. I'll see certain colors like greens and reds and blues in here that I like and use those. Aside from that, I'm usually going to be bouncing back to this arm for the most part. But I've also got like, on these sandals for instance, I've got these wrapping over top of the feet. I'm actually just going to ignore those. I've got that layer set up here already anyway. if I was doing a traditional painting, I would have to take into account what the structure looks like underneath it and paint up to this leather strap. I mean, you can paint through it and go back later, but I usually paint wet into wet, so I'd have to kind of avoid that. But since it's a digital painting, I don't even have to worry about that, so I just paint right over top of it. I'm going to turn this other screen off. It is a little too bright right now. There we go. That's a little bit better. I'll turn some music back up maybe. It's awfully quiet in here. Let's see. Stream some Spotify here. If you catch me listening to Britney Spears, it's not my choice of music. It's just Spotify, and my wife got a huge kick out of that the other day because I wasn't paying attention to it, and Britney Spears comes on. I'm not even paying attention to what's on, and she's just in the background laughing her ass off. Okay, see right here? There's like this gray color that I want that color because it actually matches my palette. And I'd have to come clear over here to pull it from that blue and mix, but I'm just going to grab it right there. You know what? It's not even working, so I'm going to grab it from back there. That's a little bit too loud. I can't hear your guys' comments. Okay, so I've got that worked in, and I'm just going to mix it. Like, again, if this was a traditional painting, I would take the time to actually mix that up a little bit more carefully. But since it's digital, I can adjust a lot easier. So I'm just going to go right from there. And when I work digitally, I'm not as careful with my lines either. I guess I technically should be, but it's so much easier just to paint over colors in digital than it is traditional. So I'm just kind of sloppy with it. Alright, there we go. So as you can see, I mean, I've only established the light side right here and the dark side, so that's all I have, nothing else. So what I'll do is, you can see the sketch underneath here and everything. I want to hit a few more darker colors real quick because this leg's actually going to be coming forward a little bit more than the arms, so the color will be a little bit more saturated on it. See, and I can see a little bit of light right there, so I'm actually just going to add a little streak right there and right there. I'm actually going to pull some of that and just get some darker colors sampled in there. So I might actually pull it from right there. I like that color better. Okay, so now this is going to have like a little shadow. Oh, that's not at my house any good. Hey Riley, will you run downstairs and make sure that the back door is unlocked? Funny thing about live streaming is you kind of get some of the home life that goes on behind the camera too. You don't get that in pre-edited videos. Okay, so from right here, I actually select this mixer brush. It's hidden underneath the brush tool. I've got it set as a hotkey on my Wacom. So I go over to this mixer brush, and then what I do is I can actually blend with this brush. And what it'll do is it'll actually inherit some of the extra colors around it, where the smudge tool I'll switch that. It just kind of pushes the colors back and forth and just kind of makes them blurry. What this mixer brush does is I've got it to sample all the layers, but what it'll actually do is it'll pull them all together and kind of mix it that way. So it creates a more feeling of brush strokes. See, and I can just mix those colors, and not only does it create a better look of like brush strokes, but it also mixes colors. Like if you have red and green next to each other, for example. You know, I'm actually gonna make a layer. I wanna show this to you. So let's grab red right here, and then we will grab a green and put it right here. Let's make those a little bit larger. Just like that. Okay, so what's going to happen with this is if we go into the smudge tool and we go back and forth like this, you kind of have to work it in, and it kind of creates like a blurry edge, right? I mean, after all, it's just kind of smudging it together. But that's about all we're getting from that, right? So if we switch over here to the mixer brush, it actually creates a texture and it creates new colors at the same time. And instead of just being blurry like this, you kind of see some brush strokes. So going back to the smudge tool, and we can even sample all the layers with this too, which will pull all the colors. But aside from that, let's pull some color out here. See how it's just kind of blurring green over top of it? With this one, we're getting the brush strokes, right? But if we go back and forth like we did here, that one just blurred the green even more. This one's actually mixing brown into it. Likewise, if we go red right here, we get all that mixed in. So going back to the smudge tool, sample all layers. See, it just creates a blurry effect compared to more of like the brush strokes. So that's the difference on those. I use them both actually. It depends on the edge that I want. If I want a soft edge, I'll smudge. If I want more of like a painterly-like edge, I'll use the mixer brush. And most of the time, the mixer brush is what wins, because I kind of like the rough look anyway. I feel like the blurred edges are just a little too digital. And I mean, this is really digital looking too still, but I have yet to go in and add, I'll go in and resample certain areas that are very, done with a very brush-like look to it. I'm still not all that great at it, but I'm trying to break away from just the very digital look. See, so it's just like a mess of brush strokes, which is really cool. It does take a little bit more time to learn how to control this one, because it works in more of like with this brush that I have, which I'm matching the texture with. It's more of a block brush, so it's a little harder to control, but the effect is very worth taking the time to do it. See, and then on these edges, I'll go back over, and I kind of use this as just a standard brush tool too. I don't think of it as just like a blending brush. I think of it more as like a paint brush that's slightly loaded with paint, and I'll use that to kind of change it. Hey Melissa, welcome back. But yeah, it creates that. Not much. Just felt like doing a stream where I'm actually showing how I paint, so hopefully you guys like it. So right here there's some lights. I'm going to try to blend that in a little bit, and I'm going to pull some of that light down with this brush. And then I'm going to go back and edit the clothing on this that he's kind of leaning over later, so I'm going to start tightening up my brush strokes a little bit right there. And then I did go over right here. This is Photoshop. So I went over it a little bit, so I'm going to turn my sketch back on so I can see where that's at. Go right over it. Yeah, what I was just mentioning is underneath the brush tool right here is a mixer brush tool, and that's basically what I'm kind of showing that I use for this section. So I just go back and forth right there. And then all of this mess right here from just scribbling the color in, this brush will just kind of obliterate that and blend it all together nicely. So you get a few little sections here that are highlights, and you get some darker sections just like you'd have in real life with all the plane changes of the leg. You wouldn't have just one solid color. You'd have a lot of different lighting scenarios hitting it because of the bounce light, the reflected light, the direct light, I mean, just all of it plays in. Yeah, I use it for painting all the time just because it's faster than Corel Painter by far. But my Corel Painter has been kind of sucking lately. It just, if I can even get it to open, it just crashes a lot. And I have a feeling it's just because I'm using a version that's like, I think it's like 4 years old now. It's about time to upgrade, but I don't want to. So my Photoshop, this is a CS6, so it's not really too old. But it runs way faster than Corel Painter, and I like the interface too. Like Corel Painter feels outdated. Corel Painter is what you use? I don't know, there's something about the interface of Corel Painter to me that just feels... It feels like it was like 1990s. I love the program, and it's one of my favorite apps. Oh, Photoshop, gotcha. Yeah, if I can get it to run again, I'm going to uninstall it and reinstall it pretty soon here. And if I can get it to work, it's still one of my favorite programs to work in, but Photoshop is definitely more intuitive and way faster. But you lose some of the brush stroke look. Like Photoshop's brushes that they come with, that are supposed to look like real paint brushes, they're out of the box, they're just terrible. They're way terrible. Alright, let's see, we got that coming down. It's a little bit more color here. I know, right? I mean, you can edit them to make them work really well, but brushes are not my strong point in Photoshop by any means, and I don't really care to take the time to make them when there's so many people who've made such great brushes. Like this one right here, I don't even remember where I got this one, but if I ever lose it, I'm going to be sad because I really like this brush. I think I've got it backed up somewhere, but it would still take me a while to find it. Okay, so right here, I want to put more red in the knee, so I'm actually going to swap this over to color. And I'm actually going to see, that might be a little bit too light. No, it's going to work. So I'm just going to paint right over this and add some red right to the knee. There's going to be a little more blood supply there, so I'm going to throw some in there. I want some right there and right there. And then I'm going to grab a green. Let's see. Oh yeah, no problem. So that's what I've got so far. So I finished these right here to this degree so far, and I've kind of got the blood coming down the brick, and like the blood comes up over here. Thank you. And if I have time, I gotta contact my client and see how much more time I've got, because I told him I could probably have it by Sunday, but if he can extend my deadline, I actually want to go back, because like I added like a little seam right there, and I want to kick all the detail up quite a bit more, but like the blood on the arm's pretty rough when you get in there. Yeah, so from the story, this is Nephi from the Book of Mormon, and he was commanded to decapitate or kill. Okay, so religion is actually one of my favorite subjects. I knew the story before he'd even approached me. I knew what I was going to choose. The story, and I mean, people are free to correct me if I'm incorrect on this, because like I studied the Bible more than I studied the Book of Mormon. But Nephi had these golden plates that he was supposed to translate to the people to spread the word or the gospel. And this dude Laban, he's a political member who's in power at the time, and he confiscated these golden plates. And God commanded Nephi to go retrieve them, and he asked how he was supposed to retrieve them. And God told him that he will deliver Laban unto his arms or something like that, or unto his hands. So Nephi went to Laban's, I believe it was his house, and Laban comes wandering out of it drunk, completely drunk, and he passes out on the ground. And God orders Nephi to decapitate him. So he pulls out Laban's sword and kills him with it. So the funny thing is, like all the pictures that I've seen of this, let's face it, it's a very gruesome story. None of them have any depiction of blood whatsoever. And let's face it, there'd be a lot of freaking blood. So, oh, I gotta change the color off. Aren't they though? They're way brutal. So, I wanted to depict the story because, like, what they were doing was, I think they're compiling a bunch of people. I can't really give away my client's name just yet. I will be able to soon. But they're going to have it displayed, and they're going to have a speaker come and talk about it, if I understood it right. So they hired like 70 different artists. So you kind of already getting the idea that it's a pretty big deal here. And they're all doing their own little story on how they interpret the Book of Mormon. And then the speaker's going to talk about it. So I was super excited and actually really nervous at the same time, because this has now become the biggest client that I've ever worked for. And he's given me complete freedom on it. Like, I even sent him a sample and I was like, hey man, can I get your approval on this? Just make sure I'm going in the right direction. He responded, he's like, any direction you take that is your description is the right direction. So it's like 100% freedom for me on it, and it's insane. Given the people who contracted me, I'm going to say it's a religious project. So, I've only been hired for one religious project before this. And it's interesting. I find it really interesting when people actually contract me for this, because if you go to, thank you. If you go to Artwork by Adam, which is my website, it'll redirect you to adamiconi.com. But you'll see that my stuff is usually actually fairly dark stuff. So when this guy approached me at Comic-Con, I had like all these monsters hanging behind me. And we started talking, and apparently that's what actually attracted him to my booth, was all the monsters. Then we're talking, and I look back at my poster and point at it, I'm like, are you sure you want me to do this project for you? I go, you're probably already getting an idea on how it's going to turn out. And he's like, most certainly, that's one of the reasons I came up to you. So, it was pretty interesting. I'm pretty stoked for it, though. I'm hoping for what they use it for. I'm kind of hoping that I get an invite down to it to see the whole show, because they're going to put these in a gallery, from what I understand, and kind of just have like this huge night event about these. So I wish I was a faster painter and I would have actually done it traditional, but I'm a slow ass painter. I'm really slow at it. Yeah, I think it would be really fun. So, we're negotiating price on it, and I lowballed it because he told me I get to keep all the rights to it. So the only right that they needed was the ability to print and display it and talk about it. That's all that they needed. So like, I can reproduce this if I want. I can do whatever I want with it. So I kind of lowballed it, which was funny, and even then he's like, "Wow, you're the most expensive person I've commissioned so far." So it was kind of crazy, but it works out. I think I'm already into this thing something like 25 hours. Maybe not quite that much. It's getting up there though. It's starting to increase. I've been sending him samples about it, and just kind of updates, and he seems to be really happy with it so far. But it was corporate money, so he didn't really care too much about the price. But it was kind of funny. You're the most expensive I've commissioned so far. I was like, well, is that a problem? Like, I can cut some corners and lower the price if you want. They don't. They really don't. So I was like, I go, it's going to take me a long time to do this. I can cut some corners if you need me to. And he's like, no, that's fine, it's fine. So, he went with it for the price that I offered, which was way awesome. But what's funny is, like, I have a friend that was down there at the same time, and I apologize if you're watching this or going to replay it. But he came over to my booth afterwards. He's like, dude, I got a commission. And we started talking about who it was for, and I was like, dude, I got the same thing. And he asked me how much I had offered, and I was like, well, I kind of lowballed it. I might have gone too low, but here's my price, and I give it to him. And he's like, son of a bitch. And I'm like, what? What'd you offer? And he's like, $50. I was like, oh, dude. Poor guy. So I told him, I was like, well, just make sure that you just make it a $50 piece then. I go, mine's going to be super in-depth, and it's going to take me a long-ass time. Just don't do that. So he's like, yeah, that's what I had planned on. Exactly. So I think he's going to speed it up quite a bit, because like this right here is a very in-depth piece, and you can tell that there's time involved. I mean, if you're paying somebody $50 for a piece of work, I would assume that most clients would realize that they're getting $50 worth of work. I mean, for most artists that I know, that's about 45 minutes to an hour's worth of work for most of the artists that are just kind of starting out. That's my problem too, is I want to raise my prices, but I don't feel like my name's established quite enough yet. I think if I can get in at like Peso or something like that, I think it would work. Yeah, there's not a chance I'd take that. I did a video game piece where each piece gave me $200, and the guy was pretty cool. He's like, yeah, just don't. He's like, all I can afford is $200 at a time, so try not to spend more than 3 or 4 hours on it. And I was like, damn, a client that actually understands that. That's awesome. Let's see, does my phone show the battery? I might have to plug my phone in. Hey, babe, will you grab me my charger over there real quick? I don't know about you, but Periscope sucks down my battery life on my phones like insanely fast. Oh, thank you. Right. Well, what I have trouble with most client work too, when they come in, they're like, "I'll give you $50," and it's like they don't realize the time that it's going to take, like that time investment we were talking about. But at the other time, they're usually going to be making a lot more on it. Like a video game, for instance, if you're selling for $1, I mean, you're going to make your money back really fast if you market it. That is. Oh, come on, plug in. Alright, let's try this. I don't know if that's actually charging my phone or not. I don't know if it's a powered port or not. It didn't do anything. Let's try this one. Oh. Something's going on. Alright, sorry to blind you. Just get this crap out of the screen. Oh, it must be charging. Okay, I'll cancel that. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with where that leg's gone. So I'm going to still have to focus on that foot right here. But I think the leg's looking pretty good. So I'll go back and I'll add some blood onto it. Let's try to adjust some fans here. Man, it's getting hot. But with where that leg's at, I think that's good. I'm going to put some blood splatters across it right here. And I might have some on the foot too, almost like he's kind of been fighting and some of the blood dropped on there. I had some blood on the face earlier today, blood on the clothes. I wanted to show that there was like pretty much a murder that went on without it just being like, how gory can I make it? Because I want it to be... I know, right? I want it to be respectable and not just try to go for the disgust factor. All of the pictures have no blood. It's like the dude was decapitated. It's going to be blood spraying everywhere. It's like the pressure in there. I think I read once that like the pressure in the neck, that if somebody was like instantly decapitated, the blood could squirt something like 30 feet or something like that. It's something ridiculous. So it's like, you cut a dude's neck and release that pressure, it's going to make a mess. And like all the pieces I looked at there is just perfectly clean. It's like, the hell? Alright, let's see. I like where that's gone. So I usually don't sample from my reference, but there's some colors in here that I'm really liking, so I'm going to grab those. There. So the nice thing about something like this, like, I told the guy a week on turnaround, which is ridiculous for me, because like I am ridiculously slow at painting. I feel like I've gotten a lot faster on this. Oh, I haven't yet. I'm going to do that after I fix, after I finish this. I'm going to fix those, because I was looking at it and I was getting ready to varnish it when I noticed that. But as I was looking at the hands after that recording yesterday, I realized how much paint is still wet. Oh, I actually really liked it. It was a really nice show. I mean, I've heard so much negativity come from it, but I'll admit, like, I thought it was pretty damn cool. And I was really worried about Ben Affleck as... Yeah, it totally was. I was super worried about Ben Affleck as Batman because, like, honestly, I don't like that guy's acting, like, at all. And Daredevil was just atrocious. That video was stupid as hell. But I'll admit, I think he has been my favorite Batman. Like, he did a really good job. And it's sad to admit that I think he's my favorite Batman now. You know, and the thing is, too, after seeing how well he did with Batman, I'm kind of wondering if Daredevil was just, like, a really bad director. I mean, I don't follow directors or actors that much, but, like, he totally, nailed Batman. Like, he did really good at it. And I have to say, that voice modulator thing, I want one of those. I know, right? Because he's usually such a bad actor anyway. But yeah, a voice modulator would be awesome to have. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it because like people do replays. So this, if I accidentally say something, this is your spoiler alert, or just in case spoiler alert, I should say. So if you fast forward past this and I drop a ball, I'm sorry. Yeah, everybody knew he was using a voice modulator anyway. It sure, I actually liked how they did that better than the Bale Batman too. Like I liked him, but I don't know. There's just something about it. All right, F-Foot's coming along, I think. So I'm trying to figure out how to do the sandal. The sandal's kind of strange, but from what I hear in real life too. I've been hearing a lot of stories that dude's just like a total rant. I don't know if I don't follow this stuff too often, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even have TV. Like Donald Trump said, I only know what's on the internet. Oh, really? Oh, wait, is that the one where the dude walked into the, like, a filming scene and he, like, totally yelled at the guy? Okay, yeah, I actually did hear that. The reason I actually heard that is because Family Guy actually did a piece on it. Oh man, you can't go wrong with Family Guy. That poor dude's probably just like, shit dude, I'm just doing my job, back off. You get paid enough money to deal with my stupidity, deal with it. Alright, I'm liking where this is going. I need to get some more of those darks. For anyone who's interested how I'm cycling through these brushes so quickly, I'm on Wacom Intuos 3 large version, and it has little buttons up in the corner. I have one of them assigned to, I believe it is Shift B. Oh yeah, I could imagine. At the same time, though, I mean, I think people are a little bit too serious most of the time. But it would be kind of annoying, I have to admit that. I can understand where somebody would go getting upset with it, but just like tearing into some dude for 15 minutes. But then again, I don't know why that dude would just stand there and take it. What a puss. I'd just be like, dude, fuck off. Seriously, I don't care how much money you got. So were they actually filming at the time? I thought it was just like a... From what I heard is it was just like a... Wow, what is it? Like a rehearsal type thing. I didn't actually see it. I just heard that Family Guy part of it, and it was funny as hell. Yeah, I canceled my TV like years ago, and I never turned it back on, and I just kind of stopped following a lot of that stuff. Yeah, and it's hard to make judgments on that too, because like there's usually more to a story than you get. So I watched Jeopardy for ages. I didn't even know that was still on, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to turn my Netflix back on at some point in time. I turned it off a couple months ago. But now that new Daredevil came out with the Punisher, oh my god, I saw one scene of that online, and I was like, I gotta watch that. That looks badass. And I really liked Daredevil's Season 1. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it's what they show online is in the preview. Yeah, it is. It's like it's a Netflix original series. They're doing Daredevil. Yeah, Season 1 was totally badass. I loved it, and from what I saw in this, because like I don't have Netflix right now, it shows like this prison scene where the Punisher's in there, and he like murders like 10 dudes like that are attacking him. And I was just like right after that, I was like, oh my god, I gotta turn that back on. Yeah, if you have a chance, after you log off the stream, just search for Daredevil Punisher, and I'm sure it'll show up on YouTube pretty early. Alright, let's try to get into some of these intricacies of this foot. They're kind of crazy here. Alright, you think that leg's coming along pretty nice? I think it might be working. You know what? Always a good idea to save eventually. I'm setting computer screen because I've actually got my camera in front of me, so I'm sitting back further than I usually do. And it's kind of funny because like I don't have command of my shortcuts on my keyboard or anything like that, so like I totally forgot to save. That would suck to lose like what am I in this now, like 30 minutes? Alright. I think that's looking pretty good. It's kind of funny when you're presented with strange deadlines, kind of like I think I kind of assigned me a weird deadline on this one myself, because like I don't think he was actually giving me a deadline, it just seemed like he was in a hurry for it. But it's interesting because like you come up with new ways to paint that are just like you get faster at it. It's really cool. I think it was I heard a story once, and I think they accompany it to Picasso. Apparently a lady came up to him at one point in time and asked for him to sketch a portrait real quick. So he spent 5 minutes, and I know the feeling. Spent like 5 minutes and drew her this amazing portrait and slid it over to her, and she's like, oh wow, that's incredible, and it only took you 5 minutes. And he responded, actually that took me 30 years. I just love that one. Yeah, that's how I am too. I want to take my work to more of a realism type thing also. So I think this is really good. Yeah, I love that story. I think this is a good piece to do that. Alright, I think that's coming along nicely. Yeah, that foot's like blending in nicely, I think. Shit, yeah, I like that actually. I might warm up the arms a little bit. I'm thinking they might be looking a little too blue now. Like, his face has some warmth in it, and his leg has some warmth in it, but I think his arms might be a little too cool. So I'll go back and readdress that later, though. We've still got toes to paint, unfortunately. Toes, hell. You're gonna suck. I'm going to pull my reference down. Since all I need is that foot, I'm going to mask everything else out. There we go. Jump back down to the leg. Alright, now we got them both in the scene. I think that works. So I'm painting in the dark right now, just so there's no glare on the screen. And good hell, it is making me tired. I'm very much somebody who needs the light to function. It's like I'm kind of like a night owl type thing. Whoops, almost kicked on my camera. Kind of like a night owl because like I like nighttime. But holy hell, like as soon as it starts getting dark outside, I get so tired. It's funny because when I was in school, I used to have to stay up working until like 2 in the morning and then still get up for work. And now it's like, as soon as it gets dark outside, it's like bedtime. I don't know what it is, but other people's feet are just gross to me. It's just weird. I don't know what it is. It's like they're so interesting, but at the same time, it's just like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I haven't seen enough other people's feet to get used to it. I don't know if you're interested in it either, but I just shared all of my social media stuff on Facebook if you're interested. There's Snapchat and everything on there. The foot on top is my reference because the feet are so complicated. I hate this song. I don't know what it is, but I hate this song. Let's see, where's my fast forward button? Shit, I don't even know where my fast forward button is. I can't find anything. I'm going to use the mouse. There we go. I don't know what it is, that song, I just don't like it. There we go. But the top foot is reference because the foot's so complicated. I mean, like this little bump right here, if you're drawing a foot, you'd probably not take into consideration that. And then you have like this line, this core shadow that comes up, and then it comes back down, then it comes back up, and then it comes back down. And you don't notice that stuff. And I've got it here, but I think I'm actually going to emphasize that a bit more now that I talk about it. Because I kind of like that. So little things like that. I'm still leaving that bump on the top of the foot off, though. And then the way it turns right here, like it's hard to pick up on that stuff just out of memory. So I reference the foot just to see what it looks like. And like, you've almost in a sense got like these little toe knuckles right here. And your mind simplifies it. You'd never catch that stuff. Exactly, yeah. I am going to fix that, but I didn't think it was as bad as everybody else was claiming it was, and I don't know if everybody was like, oh, the first person who replied didn't like it, therefore we'll just all troll it. Ah, thank you. No kidding, right? I have noticed that online, though, is like if the first person who responds is like, oh, this looks really nice, I like that, everybody else responds with, oh yeah, this looks great. But if the first person responds with, oh, I don't like that, all of a sudden everybody doesn't like it. It's just like crowd, what is it, mob mentality type thing. They really do. And what was bad too is I had posted this online in a forum, and I had phrased it with, I hope you like it. Like, I don't know, I felt like I'm posting it in a critique room. Like, people would know I'm looking for some critique, but I had posted, I hope you like it, in addition to it. It's because, like, hey, I hope you guys like it, you know? And everybody was like, how dare you just be fishing for likes? And it's like, I wasn't. Like, I do hope you like it, but I'm not just hoping you like it. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last one about the restaurant. You're working in a restaurant and something. But it's sad, because as soon as that first person makes the comment, if it's not a good comment, everybody jumps on it. Oh. That's actually really funny. That's why you always get pissed when the first person doesn't order a goddamn beer. Like, it makes, like, the other patrons feel like they're gonna order fish too, like, even if it's unrelated. See how these are looking from a distance. They're looking awfully cartoonish. Well, mad props to you. There is not a chance I could ever work in a restaurant. I couldn't do it. I'm not a people's person at all. I get frustrated with people really easily. Especially stupid people. Oh my god. Oh, did you? That's way cool. I can cook up a mad top ramen. That's the extent. I know, I can't deal with people. Like, even I carry a graphic design day job, and pardon my language, but I am one that is willing to tell my employer to fuck off. I don't deal with it. When they come in and start bitching to me, I'll just be like, dude, seriously, just piss off right now. I don't want to deal with you. Yeah, and that's the thing, is I don't see why people need to be rude. I understand, like, some people are having a bad day, but if you're having a bad day, don't take it out on somebody you don't know just for the sake of it. If I'm having a bad day, I usually try to avoid people. Alright, I think this is starting to come along now. Getting rid of that cartoony look. Toenails are freaking hard to draw. Yeah, that's what I do. And a lot of times if people are coming over to me and I'm in a bad mood, I'll just tell them I'm in a bad mood and it's probably best to stay away. I'm not one that will stay mad all day either. Like, if I'm in a bad mood, it's usually very temporary. And I have noticed that my mood is usually related to temperature, because I get hot really quite ridiculously easy. Like, right now I've got 2 fans going on me and I'm still a little hot. Oh, really? So I found, like, if I turn the fans on, if I'm in a really bad mood, I can turn my fans on and it'll calm me down. Yeah, you know, that actually happened with me today. I went through a phase where I was, like, super tired, and everyone kept coming in. I was like, guys, I just need some time alone. Please just leave my room. Give me an hour. And after that, I was just fine. Yeah, I get that seasonal affective disorder, or whatever they call it. The acronym is SAD, where, like, the lack of sunlight depletes your body of vitamin D. Yep, I've heard that before. So like, if I lack vitamin D, I get depressed. So I just take like a shit ton of vitamin D sometimes, and it'll take care of it for me. Yeah, it's crazy. My wife was going through a lot of it this year, and now that it's starting to get lighter, hers is going away too. Yeah, and I'm white, and I've heard that people who are white require a lot more vitamin D. So during the winter seasons, a lot of them get depleted of it, like I do, and it apparently affects white people a little bit more than like darker skins. I mean, I'm actually Italian, so it's like I'm not like a real pale skin, but I am still on the lighter side, and apparently like vitamin D becomes an issue because of that. So I learned that one from the doctor. It was kind of interesting. This is going to be a long ass stream. Alright, I think that's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to pull some of this down here though. I think maybe I will actually hit that little peak. It seems a little empty without it. So I'm going to grab this lighter color. There we go. Yeah, I think that helps. And I think I'll put some highlights down here. Get rid of the foot. What's the brightness level on this coming through to you? Like, can you see the different colors right here by chance? Because like on my phone, like this is all just black right here. I can't see any detail on that. And I'm kind of wondering if you're seeing the same thing as that. Okay, I might actually kick it up even more because it's darker on my screen, but on my phone it's like completely black. So what about this area? Is it the same way? Because like I can see a lot of like light browns in here. Can you see those? Because I can't see any of those on my phone either. Okay, cool. So maybe I'll just lighten up that one area. I have a tendency to paint really dark. I studied a lot of that, oh shit, I just forgot the term. It was on the tip of my tongue. What is it? Terracotta, I believe. It's real dark paintings like Rembrandt used to do. I studied a lot of that, and even though I paint like monsters and stuff like that, I like to incorporate a lot of that stuff into it. And I kind of got stuck in that rut and started going really, really dark with everything. And everything became like a huge pain in the ass to print because of it. Yeah, it's just my name, AdamMikoni.com, but for ease to remember, I came up with another domain name that points to it. It's just Artwork by Adam. So artworkbyadam.com. Oh, you're telling me. Like I was doing a Comic-Con, and I went through like 5 different printers trying to find somebody decent. That's crazy. I actually want to buy a high resolution printer eventually of my own. Oh, that'd be tight. There's this printer I want. I think it's something like $900 for the cheapest version of it. And everyone's telling me that I need to get like the mid-grade one, which is $1,500, but I have trouble justifying spending $1,500 on a printer when I want a Wacom Cintiq. Yeah, I'm starting an apparel line too. I tested it at Comic-Con. They're baby onesies, and I'm going to be doing tank tops and stuff. I do. Right now I go to printers, but I noticed a lot of the really good artists, they have their own printers. Like, they buy these super high-end Epson or Canons. They're, like, insanely expensive. And they print all their own stuff.